This video is an introduction to Excel. It is intended for someone who has never used spreadsheet software. Excel is one brand of spreadsheets that have been widely used. The earliest, introduced in the 1980s, is Lotus 1-2-3, which is claimed by many to be the killer app that generated much interest in sales and personal computers. QuatraPro was another early one. Microsoft introduced Excel and its inclusion of advanced capabilities in the mid-1990s, which led it to become the industry standard. Originally, spreadsheets were considered a tool for accounting and financial calculations. However, today it is used for most anything that requires an organized list, and by some as their calculator, since it handles large numbers and multiple-step calculations with ease. Let's get started. When you open Excel, you get this blank page, which essentially does not have a spreadsheet there. We want to create one, so we go to File up in the upper left-hand corner. Click on File, and we can open existing ones, or we can go to a new one. And that's what we want to do. So I go down here. Note there are many different templates you can bring up, which has some basic frameworks there. We're going to go to a blank one. Click on that, and this is a blank spreadsheet. This is the standard spreadsheet format anywhere you go with spreadsheet software. It has columns of data, and it goes up to A, up to X. If I go down the bottom right hand corner, there's an arrow, and I can move it over, and note it starts over at AA, AB, AC, and went up, it starts pretty soon, goes up to B, BC, it goes all the way to ZZ for a total of about 676 columns, if I remember correctly. You also have rows, but they're signified with numbers. Down 1, 2, 3, goes down, I'm not sure how far, 10,000 maybe? I don't know. I've never been that far. What these are used for is identify each of these boxes. These are like post office boxes. We've got to tell which one we're going to store our numbers, our dates, any kind of data in. This is C4. Note that a C is shaded, the 4 is shaded when I click here. When I click on this one, the B is shaded to 2. Also note that it's up here in the upper right left hand corner. I go to D6 and it shows D6 there. So we can go to any of those and put in a number. I'll put in a number 147. Hit the enter key, and it enters our data. And you can see up here, it shows it here in C4. It also shows it up here in what's called the formula bar. It's just a number in this case. We had another number 17. And you could use a down arrow key if you wanted, or just click in another column. Down arrow, sideward arrows, up arrow, anything like that to take you out of the cell. When you get out of the cell, then it stores it. And with numbers, you often want to do add, subtract, multiply, divide. We could add these, and you could, one way is when you want to do calculations, you always put in an equal sign. Well, equal 147 plus 17, which is 164. But that's kind of laborious. Already typed in these two numbers, and it has other advantages. The big advantage of spreadsheets is the use of cell addresses. This is C4, so we put in here our equal sign, C4, and we're going to add C5, and I can put in small letters or large letters for the column indicators, and it will change it to capitals everywhere. See up here, C4 plus C5 in a formula bar, and you get the same thing, which you should. And this really is one of the major powerful points of Excel. It looks simple at this point, but before you had Excel, you had to do this kind of calculations. Where now if you come in and say, well, that number's wrong, I had a typo, it should be 174, not 147, and it updates it for us immediately. Well, this one doesn't. So if you change something, then you got to remember where else did I use this, and I have to change that as well. If you use cell addresses, fix this one, and this one's fixed as well. We can do multiplication equals C4 times, use an asterisk for multiplication, times C5. We can do subtraction equals C4 minus C5. And we could do division equals C4 divided by C5. And actually, you can raise numbers to a power. If we wanted to take 17, that's in D5, and square it, or let's triple it. Not triple, to the third power. And that's 0. So what did I do wrong? Well, if you click up here on the equation, it shows you which cells you're using. Well, I'm using D5. What I really want is C5, so I can fix that. And it is 4913. So that's calculations. You can do all kinds of these things, and you'll see more later. But you can also put in text data. This is addition. We'll type in ADDITION. I'm a terrible typist. There it came up already. Addition. What was this? Multiplication? Well, that's addition again. So I'm going to go here, and I've put down the lower right-hand corner of that cell. It changes to an arrow. Hold down the left key and bring it down. It brings down the addition. This one is multiplication. That doesn't fit. So we can go and hold up here on the edge of the column, B, hold down the left button and drag over. It changes the size, and now it fits. You can drag it back. If you want to have it automatically sized for you to fit everything that's in that column, double click on the upper right hand corner of that cell, and it moves it over till it just fits. This is subtraction. And here we have division, if I remember right. And a power or exponentiation. Raise it to the third power in this case. You can do percentages. Let's say I want to use 23.7% of the 174. So I can equal to C4 times, in this case I'm just going to click on the cell E4 and note that it fills it in for me. It puts in E4. Save some typing. And the answer is 23.7% of 174 is 41.238. Is that exact? Or we could add up here some decimal places. These two icons up in the number. This adds more, 80. It looks like it's going to be zeros forever, probably. Note that it rounds off when I go back. There it's 41.238, rounded off. That would be round up to 0.24. So I take out one decimal point, and now it's 24. Take out another one, and it's 2, and this will go to 41. And that happens up there. In a later video, we'll look at all these ribbon capabilities up here, which is major. We can we did percentages, we did names, whatever. That's a lot of different things. If you look up here under general and click on the arrow beside it, you'll get all kinds. You do times, percentages, fractions, text, general, and if you wanted to change one of those, for instance, this 23.7, let's put in a number so we don't mess it up. I had 25.89. And say I wanted to change that to a percentage, I could go up here, I could click on percent right here, that would do it, or I can go up here and look for percentage, which is there, and it's 2859%. If we look up here in the top are arrow keys. Now if I want to go back, I click on the undo, it says undo format, and there's 25.89. If I wanted that to be 25%, note that a percentage 0.2589 is equal then to, whoops, I'm not in the right cell. You got to be on the cell before you click on these. And it's 26%, or if we add a decimal point, 25.89%. One other thing is down here at the bottom it says sheet 1, which we have this data in. We could, the plus sign lets you add a new sheet. Now it's sheet 2. You can change these names. Double click on it and type any name you want. And you can put in numbers, letters, numbers. And so forth. And they're there. So you have two different sheets. You could have, I worked with one client once that had a sheet for each project in the organization. It was a summary of all the hours charged to a project. This is a second project, and they went on. It was an ungodly thing. It had about 120 projects active, which is not what you ought to be doing with a spreadsheet. There's database packages which make more sense, but they had done that. It grew up small, started small, and they kept adding sheets. They asked me was, how is there an easy way to do a summary sheet of all the projects, and which I did, but it wasn't the way to go, and they didn't want to go to a database like Access or something. And that ends this video.